I spent my firstborn daughter's entire college fund on my favorite child's extravagant wedding, bought myself a Mercedes with what was left, ignored my elder daughter's request for help, got sued, divorced, disowned, and now watch from the sidelines as she lives a happy life I'll never be part of while I'm alone, broke, and forced to face the consequences of 32 years of favoritism and cruelty. I bought myself a Mercedes last week with my daughter's college fund. Well, what was left of it after I spent $85,000 on her sister's wedding. She found out 3 days ago when she saw it in my driveway. The look on her face is burned into my brain. Not anger. Just this hollow, defeated acceptance. Like she'd finally gotten confirmation of something she'd always suspected but hoped wasn't true. "Is that my money?" she asked quietly. "It's my money," I snapped. "I'm your mother. I don't owe you explanations for how I spend my money." She nodded slowly, got in her car, and drove away. She hasn't answered my calls since. Neither has her sister. Neither has anyone. I'm sitting in my new car in an empty driveway writing this on my phone because I have no one left to talk to and I need someone to understand how I got here. Not for sympathy. I know what I did. But because if I don't write it down, I think I'll go crazy trying to justify it to myself. 6 months ago, I had 2 daughters who at least pretended to tolerate me. Now I have a restraining order from one and complete silence from the other. Let me start at the beginning, because that's where I always go wrong. I had 2 daughters. Maya, 32, and Sophie, 28. Maya came first, unplanned, when I was 22 and stupid and married to a man who left before she turned 2. Sophie came later, planned, wanted, with a man I actually loved and who loved me back. That's the difference. That's always been the difference. Maya was a reminder of my worst mistake. Sophie was proof I'd gotten it right the second time. I know how that sounds. But at least I'm being honest now. Maya was a quiet kid. Serious. Always had her nose in a book. Got straight A's without being asked. Never caused trouble. She raised herself, honestly. By the time she was 12, she was cooking her own meals, doing her own laundry, getting herself to school. Sophie was sunshine. Bright and bubbly and charming. Everyone loved Sophie. She needed help with homework, needed reminders to clean her room, needed me. And I loved being needed by her in a way I never loved Maya's independence. When Maya graduated high school with a full academic scholarship to state school, I was relieved. One less expense. When Sophie barely graduated and needed tens of thousands in tutoring and community college classes to get into a decent university, I paid without hesitation. "It's not fair," Maya said once, when she was home for Thanksgiving her sophomore year. "You spent more on Sophie's SAT prep than you've spent on me in my entire life." "Sophie needs more support," I said. "You've always been self-sufficient. Be grateful for that." She went quiet. She was always going quiet around me. The college funds were my late mother's idea. Before she died, she set aside $50,000 for each granddaughter's education. Equal amounts. Ironically, she'd always liked Maya better. Said she reminded her of herself. Serious and smart and independent. Maya used about $8,000 of hers for textbooks and living expenses her scholarship didn't cover. She worked 2 jobs through college and graduated debt-free with the rest of the fund intact. Sophie used all of hers and then some. When it ran out her junior year, I dipped into Maya's fund without asking. Just $15,000. To cover Sophie's last year and a half. "She'll never know," my husband, Sophie's father, said. "Maya's already graduated. She doesn't need it." "But it was supposed to be hers," I said, feeling a flicker of guilt. "And we'll pay it back," he promised. We didn't. Fast forward 6 years. Sophie gets engaged to Brandon, this finance bro who comes from money. His family wants a big wedding. The kind that costs as much as a down payment on a house. Sophie comes to me in tears. Brandon's parents are paying for half, but we're supposed to cover the other half and we don't have it. Dad's retirement account is tied up, and Brandon's student loans are massive, and I know it's a lot to ask, but... She wanted $70,000. I should have said no. I should have told her to have a smaller wedding, to wait and save up, to be practical. Instead, I looked at my youngest daughter's perfect, tearful face and said, "I'll figure it out." The wedding was in 8 months. I started by liquidating my own small savings. That covered $20,000. My husband contributed another $15,000 from a bonus. We were still $35,000 short. Maya's fund sat there. $42,000, untouched for years except for what we'd already taken. She doesn't even know about it anymore, I told my husband. She probably forgot it exists. "Are you sure?" he asked. "She's never mentioned it. Not once in 6 years. She makes good money now. She doesn't need it. So I took it. All of it. Every penny that was left. The wedding was beautiful. Sophie looked like a princess. The venue was this gorgeous estate with gardens and a string quartet and a champagne tower. Everyone said it was the most beautiful wedding they'd ever been to. Maya came alone. She'd been dating someone, but they'd apparently broken up a few months before. She wore a simple navy dress and sat quietly at her assigned table in the back, near my cousins I barely spoke to. She tried to catch my eye during the mother-daughter dance. I was too busy crying happy tears with Sophie. At the end of the night, Maya hugged Sophie and said, "I'm so happy for you." It was beautiful. Sophie, drunk and giddy, said, "Thank you. Mom and Dad paid for everything." Well, Brandon's parents paid half, but Mom somehow came up with our half. Isn't she amazing? I saw something flicker across Maya's face. But then she smiled and said, "Yeah. She's something." 3 months later, Maya got engaged. To Tom, a teacher she'd been seeing for a year. I'd met him twice. He was nice. Boring, but nice. Nothing like Brandon with his finance job and expensive suits. Maya called me on a Tuesday evening. "Mom, I wanted to talk to you about the wedding." "Of course. How exciting." I tried to inject enthusiasm into my voice. "Tom and I want something small. Just family and close friends. We're thinking maybe 50 people, backyard ceremony, simple reception. We were hoping you could help with some of the costs." "How much are you thinking?" "Well, we've budgeted about $15,000 total. If you and Dad could contribute maybe $8,000, we could swing the rest." $8,000? For her entire wedding? After I'd spent $85,000 on Sophie's. I should have just said yes. It was nothing compared to what we'd done for Sophie. It was the least I could do. Instead, I heard myself say, "That's a lot of money, Maya. Your father and I just spent a fortune on Sophie's wedding. We need time to recover financially." Silence on the other end. "Mom, Sophie's wedding was months ago." And it was. It was a lot more than what I'm asking for. Sophie's wedding was more expensive because she has more friends, more family on Brandon's side. It's different. How is it different? Her voice was getting strained. I'm not asking for the same amount. I'm asking for a fraction of it. Just to help. Maya, you've always been the responsible one. The independent one. Surely you and Tom can save up for a small wedding. You both have good jobs. We're trying to save for a house. We were hoping. Well, priorities, Maya. You can't have everything at once. Another long silence. Then, you spent my college fund, didn't you? My blood went cold. What? Grandma's money. The $50,000 she left me. I only used about $8,000 of it. There should have been over $40,000 left. You spent it on Sophie's wedding. I don't know what you're talking about. Mom, I'm not stupid. I called the bank last month to check on it because Tom and I were thinking we could use it for a down payment. The account was closed 3 months ago. Right before Sophie's wedding. I could have come clean. I could have apologized. I could have admitted what I'd done and tried to make it right. Instead, I got defensive. That money was in my name as custodian. Technically, it was mine to do with as I pleased. Your grandmother left it to me to manage for you, and I managed it. You stole from me. Her voice cracked. You stole $42,000 from me to give Sophie a party. It wasn't stealing. It was family money used for family purposes. And quite frankly, Maya, this attitude of yours is exactly why I'm hesitant to give you anything more. You're acting entitled. Entitled? You gave Sophie $85,000 for one day. I'm asking for $8,000 to marry the love of my life and you're calling me entitled? Sophie needed that wedding. It was important to Brandon's family, important for their future. Your little backyard barbecue isn't the same thing. I heard her breath hitch. When she spoke again, her voice was deadly calm. You've always loved her more. I always knew it, but I told myself I was imagining it. That you were just different with her because she needed you more. But this is just cruelty. Oh, don't be so dramatic. I'm done. She hung up. She didn't call back. I told myself she needed time to cool off. That she'd come around. 2 weeks later, she sent a group text to me, my husband, and Sophie. I'm getting married at the courthouse next month. Tom's parents will be our witnesses. You're not invited. Sophie called her immediately. I listened to Sophie's side of the conversation. Maya, don't be ridiculous. I didn't know about the fund, Mom never told me. Please, you're my sister. I'll give you money for a wedding. Maya, please don't do this. Maya had hung up on her too. My husband tried calling. Blocked. I tried calling from different numbers. She stopped answering unknown numbers. Sophie was hysterical. This is my fault. She hates me because you used her money for my wedding. It's not your fault, I said. Your sister is being childish and spiteful. She'll get over it. But I was starting to panic. I'd pushed too far. I knew I'd pushed too far. That's when I made my worst decision. I drove to Maya's apartment unannounced. She answered the door in sweatpants, eyes red from crying. You need to leave, she said. We need to talk about this like adults. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice very clear. Maya, I'm your mother. You can't cut me out over money. This isn't about money, she shouted. This is about you choosing Sophie over me for my entire life. The money just proved it. You stole from me to give her a fairy tale while telling me to be grateful for scraps. I never stole anything. And if you're going to be disrespectful to me in my own, I stopped myself. In your own what? This is my apartment, Mother. You're a guest here. An unwelcome one. We stood there, facing off in her doorway. If you're going to have this attitude, I heard myself say, then maybe you're right. Maybe there's no point in talking. But you should know, you're hurting Sophie with this. She's devastated. She's your sister. Sophie got $85,000 of my money for her wedding and you're telling me I'm hurting her? That's not fair. Get out. Maya. Get out. Before I call the police. I left. I was shaking with rage the whole drive home. How dare she speak to me that way? After everything I'd done for her? I raised her. Fed her. Clothed her. And this is the thanks I get? My husband tried to calm me down. Maybe we should offer to pay for her wedding. Just to smooth things over. Absolutely not. She's being manipulative. If we give in now, she'll think she can throw tantrums and get whatever she wants. It's not a tantrum. She has a right to be upset. She has a right to nothing. I'm her mother. That money was mine to allocate as I saw fit. The next day, I was still fuming. Still self-righteous. Still convinced I was the victim here. That's when I saw the car. I'd been wanting a new car for years. My current one was 10 years old, nothing fancy. I deserved something nice. Something that showed I'd made it. That I was successful. There was still $17,000 left in the account from Maya's fund. Just sitting there. She clearly doesn't want anything from us, I told my husband. She's made that very clear. So why should this money just sit there? That seems like a bad idea, he said carefully. Why? She's cut us off. She's getting married without us. She's made her choice. This money might as well go to someone who appreciates it. I bought the Mercedes the next day. Midnight blue, leather interior, all the bells and whistles. It cost $16,500 after my trade-in. I posted a photo on Facebook. Treating myself. I've worked hard and I deserve this. Sophie commented, gorgeous, Mom. You deserve it. The next day, Maya showed up at my house. She must have seen the post. That's when she asked about the car. When I told her it was my money. When she drove away without another word. 2 hours later, I got an email from her lawyer. A formal demand letter requesting repayment of the $42,000 plus interest. Detailing the misappropriation of funds held in trust. Giving me 30 days to respond before they filed a lawsuit. I called Sophie in a panic. She can't do this, I said. Can she? Sophie was quiet for a long time. Mom, did you really spend her entire college fund on my wedding? It was in my name. It was mine too. Did you spend it? Yes, but... And then you bought yourself a car with what was left? While refusing to give her anything for her wedding? She was being disrespectful. She needed to learn. Oh my God. Sophie's voice broke. Mom, what have you done? Are you taking her side now? There are no sides. You stole from her. And then you rubbed it in her face by buying yourself a car. With her money. It wasn't her money. Grandma left it for her. Of course it was her money. And you let me have this massive expensive wedding knowing it came from her fund? Do you have any idea how that makes me feel? You didn't know. Because you didn't tell me. You let me think you'd somehow saved up or taken out loans or something. Not that you were stealing from my sister. I didn't steal. Yes, you did. You absolutely did. And now she's suing you and I don't blame her and I can't. I can't be part of this anymore. Sophie, please. I need some space from you, Mom. I need to think. She hung up. That was 3 weeks ago. Maya's lawyer filed a lawsuit yesterday. It's not just for the money. She's claiming emotional distress, breach of fiduciary duty, all sorts of things. Her lawyer told my lawyer that they have documentation of the fund, the withdrawals, everything. My lawyer told me I don't have a case. You were the custodian. You had a legal and ethical obligation to preserve those funds for the beneficiary. You misappropriated them. You'll lose if this goes to trial. So what do I do? Settle. Pay her back what you took plus interest. Apologize. And pray she doesn't press for the maximum emotional distress damages. I don't have $42,000. We spent it. It's gone. The car is worth less than I paid for it now. Even if I sold it, I'd still be short. My husband is furious. I told you this was a bad idea. I told you not to buy the car. You didn't stop me. You don't listen. You never listen. You've destroyed our relationship with both our daughters because you couldn't admit you were wrong. Sophie still isn't taking my calls. She did call Maya, though. I know because Maya's lawyer mentioned in the latest filing that the defendant's other daughter has confirmed the details of the misappropriation. Sophie chose her. My baby girl, my favorite, the one I sacrificed everything for, chose her sister over me. I'm sitting in this car that cost me both my daughters and I can't even bring myself to drive it anymore. It feels cursed. It feels like evidence of every terrible choice I've made. The settlement conference is in 2 weeks. My lawyer says I should expect to pay back $42,000 plus $8,000 in interest, plus Maya's legal fees, which are already at $6,000. Total, $56,000. I don't have $56,000. I don't have half that. Then you'll need to liquidate assets, my lawyer said. Sell the car. Take out a home equity loan. Work out a payment plan. But you need to settle this or it goes to trial, and if it goes to trial, the damages could be significantly higher. My husband and I haven't spoken in days except to discuss logistics. He sleeps in the guest room now. He blames me for losing Sophie. I blame him for not stopping me when I was spiraling. We're both right. I sold the Mercedes yesterday. Got $14,000 for it. Less than I paid, just like my lawyer predicted. The guy who bought it didn't even try to hide his satisfaction at getting a good deal off a desperate woman. I drove home in my old car, the one I traded in but had to buy back for more than they'd given me for it. Adding insult to injury. My sister called me 2 days ago. We hadn't spoken in years. I heard about the lawsuit, she said. From Maya. She still talks to me. Good for you, I said bitterly. What were you thinking? I don't want to hear it. No, seriously. What were you thinking? That you could just steal from one daughter to give to the other and there'd be no consequences? It wasn't stealing. Yes, it was. It was exactly that. Mom left that money for Maya. You know how she felt about Maya. She'd be ashamed of you. That one hurt. Because it was true. My mother had adored Maya. Had seen something in her that I'd never been able to. Had left her that money specifically because she knew I'd favor Sophie. She tried to protect Maya from me, and I'd stolen it anyway. Mom always liked her better, I said quietly. Because Maya needed someone to like her. You were so busy loving Sophie that Maya had no one else. Mom saw that. She tried to balance it out. And you couldn't even let her have that. I gave Maya everything she needed. You gave her nothing she needed. You gave her food and shelter like she was a tenant, not a daughter. You know what she told me once? She said she felt like a placeholder in your life until Sophie came along. I felt sick. When did she tell you that? Years ago. When she was in college. She called me crying because it was Mother's Day and you'd posted all these photos of Sophie on Facebook but nothing about her. She asked me if she was wrong to feel hurt. I told her no. I told her you were a terrible mother to her and she deserved better. You had no right. I had every right. Someone needed to validate her feelings since you never did. She hung up. I went through my Facebook that night. Scrolled back years. She was right. Hundreds of photos of Sophie. Birthday posts, graduation posts, random appreciation posts. Maybe a dozen photos of Maya, all group shots where she was barely visible. I'd erased her. Digitally, emotionally, financially. I'd treated my firstborn like a ghost while worshipping at the altar of my second chance. Sophie finally called me yesterday. I talked to Maya, she said. And? And she's not dropping the lawsuit. She wants the money and she wants you to understand what you did. I can't pay that much. It'll ruin us. Then you should have thought of that before you spent her money. Sophie, please. Can't you talk to her? Tell her I'm sorry? Tell her I'll make it right? How? How will you make it right? You can't give her back her childhood. You can't give her back the feeling of having a mother who loved her. You can't undo 32 years of making her feel worthless. I never made her feel worthless. Yes, you did. Every single day. Every time you praised me for something and said nothing to her. Every time you paid for my stuff but told her to figure it out herself. Every time you hugged me and barely looked at her. She never seemed to care. She cared. She just learned not to show it around you because you'd make it worse. She told me everything, Mom. All of it. How you'd compare us. How you'd tell her she should be more like me. How you'd sigh when she came home from college like she was an inconvenience. I wanted to deny it. But the memories were flooding back. All the little moments I'd justified to myself as tough love or practical parenting. I didn't mean. It doesn't matter what you meant. It matters what you did. And what you did was destroy her trust in you and then steal from her and then flaunt it in her face. The car was a mistake. I know that now. The car was just the final insult. This has been building for 30 years. You just finally gave her permission to be done with you. What about you? I asked. Are you done with me too? Long silence. I don't know, Sophie finally said. I'm angry. I'm disgusted. I feel sick every time I look at my wedding photos because I know they're bought with money stolen from my sister. Brandon knows everything now. He's angry too. He wanted to pay Maya back himself, but she won't take money from us. She's punishing you too. No, she's protecting herself. She doesn't want to owe us anything. She doesn't want any connection to this family anymore. Can you blame her? I couldn't. I'm sorry, I whispered. Tell her that. Not me. She won't talk to me. Then write her a letter. A real apology. Not justifications. Not excuses. Just own what you did. She hung up. I tried to write the letter. I've started it 50 times. Every time, I end up making excuses. Explaining my reasoning. Justifying my choices. I can't seem to write the words I was wrong and I'm sorry without adding but afterward. That's when I realized Sophie was right. I'm not actually sorry. I'm sorry I got caught. Sorry there are consequences. Sorry I lost my daughters. But I'm not sorry I favored Sophie. I'm not sorry I gave her a beautiful wedding. I'm not sorry I spent more time and energy and money on her. I chose her. I've always chosen her. And some sick part of me still thinks I was right to do it. The mediation is next week. My lawyer says Maya's lawyer hinted they might accept $45,000 total if I pay it in a lump sum and agree to no contact. No contact. Legal documentation that I'll never speak to my firstborn daughter again. That should devastate me. Instead, I feel almost relieved. If she doesn't want contact, then I don't have to face what I've done. I don't have to look at her and see all the ways I failed her. I can pretend she just disappeared. Like she never existed. Like I only ever had one daughter. My husband overheard me telling my lawyer I'd agree to the no contact clause. You're agreeing to never see your daughter again? He looked at me like I was a stranger. She doesn't want to see me. What's the difference? The difference is you're supposed to fight for her. You're supposed to beg her to let you make this right. She doesn't want me to make it right. She wants money and distance. Because you've given her no reason to want anything else from you. He moved out 2 days later. Went to stay with his brother. Said he needed space to think about our marriage. I'm alone in this house now. I walk through rooms that used to hold my family, all I hear is silence. Sophie came by once, to pick up some of her old things she'd left in her childhood bedroom. She wouldn't make eye contact. Are you ever going to forgive me? I asked. I don't know, Mom. I really don't know. I gave you everything. You gave me everything that belonged to someone else. You made me the villain in my sister's story without even telling me. Every time she looks at her wedding photos, if she even has any, she'll remember that mine cost her entire inheritance. That's not fair to you. Life isn't fair. You taught me that. You just didn't teach me that you'd be the one making it unfair. She left with 2 boxes of her things. Didn't say goodbye. I've lost them both. The mediation happened yesterday. I sat across a table from Maya and her lawyer. I hadn't seen her in person since she came to my house about the car. She looked good. Healthy. Happy, even. Like cutting me out of her life had freed her. Her lawyer laid out the terms. $45,000 paid within 60 days. Permanent no-contact agreement. I don't attend her wedding. I don't contact her children if she has any. I don't send cards, gifts, messages through third parties. If I see her in public, I walk the other way. I am to be dead to her. Legally. Officially. Do you agree to these terms? The mediator asked. I looked at Maya. Really looked at her. Trying to find some trace of the little girl I brought home from the hospital 32 years ago. The baby who'd cried for me in the night. The toddler who'd reached for my hand. She looked back at me with complete indifference. Not hatred. Not hurt. Just nothing. I'd killed whatever love she had for me so thoroughly that she couldn't even muster the energy to hate me. I agree, I said. We signed the papers. Maya left without saying a word to me. Just walked out with her lawyer like I was a concluded business transaction. I went home to my empty house and my empty bank account. I'd taken out a home equity loan to cover the settlement, and my empty life. My husband called that night. I heard the mediation went through, he said. Yes. Are you okay? No. Silence. I don't think I can come back, he said finally. Every time I look at you, I see what you did to that little girl. And I see how I enabled it by not standing up to you. We're both guilty, but you don't even seem to care. I care. You care that there are consequences. You don't care that you hurt her. There's a difference. He's filing for divorce. He wants the house sold and assets split. Says he'll take his half and start over somewhere. Maybe move closer to Sophie and Brandon. I'll be alone. Truly, completely alone. I'm writing this from my nearly empty house. My husband took most of the furniture. Said he paid for it, it was his. I didn't argue. I sleep on a mattress on the floor in the master bedroom. I eat cereal standing at the kitchen counter. I go to work, come home, repeat. My coworkers know something's wrong but they don't ask. I'm grateful for that. I tried to call Sophie last week. She answered but said she couldn't talk long. Brandon and I are having dinner with Maya and Tom tonight, she said. They're in town for the weekend. My daughters were having dinner together. Without me. Building a relationship without me in it. That's nice, I managed. Yeah. It is. She's my sister. I should have tried harder before. Maybe if I had, things would have been different. Are you? Are you still angry with me? I'm trying not to be. For my own sake, not yours. But every time I think I've forgiven you, I remember what you did and I can't. Will I ever see you again? I don't know, Mom. I really don't know. That was 2 weeks ago. She hasn't called since. I drove past Maya's street yesterday. I know I'm not supposed to. But I needed to see her house. Needed to see where my daughter lives her life without me. It's a nice house. Small but well kept. There were flowers in the front yard. A welcome mat that said home sweet home. I sat in my car 3 blocks away and cried. This is my life now. This is what I chose. I chose favoritism over fairness. I chose one daughter over the other so blatantly that the rejected one had to cut me out to survive. I chose to steal from her to fund my favorite's dreams. I chose to buy myself a car with what was left as punishment for her daring to object. And when given the choice between fighting for my relationship with her or agreeing to never see her again, I chose the easier path. I chose convenience over my child. Again. My therapist, court-ordered as part of the settlement, asked me last week why I favored Sophie so intensely. Because she was wanted, I said. Maya wasn't. I got pregnant at 22 with a man who didn't love me. I had to drop out of college. Give up my dreams. Start over as a single mom. Maya represented everything I'd lost. And Sophie? Sophie represented everything I'd gained. A second chance. A do-over. A chance to be the mother I couldn't be for Maya. Did it occur to you that Maya also deserved a mother? That she didn't choose to be born into difficult circumstances? Of course it occurred to me. But you chose not to be that mother anyway. I tried. Did you? Or did you just go through the motions while emotionally investing in your second child? I couldn't answer. I think, my therapist said carefully, you've spent 32 years punishing a child for your own mistakes. And now you're paying the price for that choice. She's right. Maya didn't ruin my life. I ruined hers. And then I ruined it again when she tried to build something of her own. I heard through my sister, who still talks to Maya, that the courthouse wedding was beautiful. Small and intimate. Tom's parents were lovely. Maya wore a simple dress she bought herself. They went to dinner afterward at their favorite restaurant. No photographer. No string quartet. No champagne tower. No mother of the bride. Just two people who loved each other, making a commitment without the fanfare I deemed so essential for Sophie. And Maya was apparently radiant. My sister sent me one photo. Not to be cruel, she said, but because you should see how happy she is without you. I stared at that photo for hours. My daughter in a simple white dress, beaming at her new husband, surrounded by people who genuinely loved her. I wasn't in it. I wasn't even missed. That's the thing that kills me. Not that she's angry. Not that she hates me. But that she's happier without me. That I was such a negative force in her life that removing me improved it. I'm the villain in my daughter's story. The wicked mother who favored one child and destroyed the other. The woman who stole from her own child and then blamed her for being upset about it. There's no redemption for me. No moment where I suddenly become a better person and they all forgive me. I made my choices every single day for 32 years. This is the consequence. Sophie texted me yesterday. Just 2 words, I'm pregnant. I called immediately. She answered. Congratulations, I said, crying. I'm so happy for you. Thanks. Can I be involved? Can I know the baby? Long pause. I'll think about it. But you need to understand something. If you ever, and I mean ever, show favoritism between this baby and any children Maya might have, I will cut you off completely. No second chances. No excuses. You get one shot to do better. I will. I promise. I'll be different. We'll see. She hung up. I'm going to be a grandmother. I might get one last chance to be part of my family. But Maya will never give me that chance. Her children, if she has them, will never know me. I'll be the grandmother who doesn't exist. The cautionary tale. The reason their mother has trust issues. I'll get to watch Sophie's children grow up while knowing Maya's children are out there somewhere, growing up without me. 2 daughters. One who might forgive me. One who's already moved on. I did this. Every bit of it. I sit in this house I'll have to sell to pay my debts and I think about the Mercedes. The stupid, cursed Mercedes that cost me $16,500 and everything I had left. I think about Maya's face when she saw it in my driveway. The final confirmation that I valued my own comfort over her pain. I think about the college fund I stole. The wedding I refused to help with. The decades of casual cruelty disguised as practical parenting. I think about the little girl who learned not to ask me for anything because I'd already given it all to her sister. And I think about the woman she became despite me, not because of me. I got a letter last week. Not from Maya's lawyer this time. From Maya herself. It wasn't long. Just 1 paragraph. I'm writing this so you understand something. I don't hate you. Hate requires energy and emotion I'm not willing to spend on you anymore. What you did wasn't a mistake or a lapse in judgment. It was a pattern spanning my entire life. You stole money from me, yes. But more than that, you stole my childhood. You stole the feeling of being loved by my mother. You stole my sense of worth. The $45,000 doesn't make us even. Nothing ever will. But it's a price for my peace. I'm buying my freedom from you. Don't contact me. Don't try to apologize. Don't show up at my life events. You are not my mother anymore. You're just the woman who gave birth to me and spent 32 years making me wish she hadn't. I read it over and over until the words blurred. She's right. About all of it. I didn't make a series of mistakes. I made a choice, every single day, to love one daughter and tolerate the other. My sister called me yesterday and told me Maya's pregnant. 3 months along. She wanted me to know before I found out some other way. She's not telling you herself, my sister said. She doesn't want anything from you. Not congratulations. Not gifts. Nothing. Is she? Is she happy? Deliriously. Tom's over the moon. They're already planning the nursery. I'm going to have a grandchild I'll never meet. A grandchild who will hear stories about Grandma, Tom's mother, and Aunt Sophie and Uncle Brandon. But never about me. I will be erased from that child's life before they even exist. Sophie's baby is due in 4 months. She's letting me come to doctor's appointments. Letting me buy things for the nursery. Testing me. Yesterday, she mentioned that Maya's pregnant too. That's wonderful, I said carefully. Are you going to try to contact her? No. I'm not allowed to. That's not what I asked. I asked if you're going to try. No, I said. I'm not. She doesn't want me in her life. I have to respect that. Sophie studied my face. Good. Because if you violate that agreement and make things worse for her, you'll lose me too. For good this time. The threat was clear. One wrong move and I lose everything. So I'm living in this strange limbo. Cautiously rebuilding with one daughter while being dead to the other. I sold the house last month. Couldn't afford the mortgage after the equity loan. I'm renting a one-bedroom apartment now in a part of town I used to drive through quickly with my doors locked. My neighbors are a single mother with 2 kids. I hear them through the walls. The mother is patient and kind. I heard one of the kids crying the other day, upset about something at school. "Come here, baby," the mother said. "Tell me what happened." The kid talked for 20 minutes. The mother just listened. Validated their feelings. Offered comfort. I stood on the other side of the wall and cried because I'd never done that for Maya. Not once. I'm 54 years old. I have maybe 30 years left if I'm lucky. 30 years of knowing my daughter is out there, living her life, raising her children, celebrating holidays and birthdays and milestones, and I'm not part of any of it. 30 years of seeing Sophie's children and wondering about Maya's. Wondering if they look like her. If they have her quiet intelligence. If they'll ever ask about the grandmother who doesn't exist. 30 years of living with the fact that I destroyed my relationship with my child so thoroughly that she had to pay $45,000 to make sure I could never hurt her again. The money is gone now. Paid in full. The no-contact agreement is filed with the court. It's legally binding. If I violate it, she can have me arrested. My own daughter can have me arrested for trying to speak to her. That's what I am now. A legal threat. A person she needs protection from. I saw her once, by accident, 3 weeks ago. At a grocery store across town. I was shopping for one, buying frozen dinners and wine. She was with Tom, laughing about something, her hand on her small baby bump. I ducked into another aisle before she could see me. Hid behind the cereal boxes like a criminal. Watched her through the gaps in the shelving. She looked so happy. So free. I stayed hidden until they left. Then I abandoned my cart and went home. That night, I almost called her. Almost violated the agreement. Almost destroyed the last fragile connection I have to Sophie just to hear Maya's voice one more time. But I didn't. Because for once in my life, I put my daughter's needs before my own. She needs me to stay away. She needs to live her life without the constant weight of my rejection. She needs to be happy. And my need to ease my own guilt is not more important than her need for peace. So I'm doing the only good thing I've ever done for Maya. I'm staying gone. Sophie had her baby yesterday. A girl. She named her Emma. I held my granddaughter in the hospital and cried because I know I'll never hold Maya's child. Sophie saw my face. "You're thinking about her." "Yes." "Does it hurt?" "More than anything." "Good," Sophie said quietly. "It should." "She's right. It should hurt. I should spend every day of the rest of my life feeling this pain. Because Maya spent 32 years feeling worse." I look at baby Emma and I make a promise. I will never favor Sophie's children over Maya's children, even though I'll never meet Maya's children. I will speak about their aunt with respect. I will never badmouth their grandmother who doesn't visit. I will not poison another generation with my toxicity. It's the least I can do. It's the only thing I can do. Tonight I'm sitting in my small apartment, alone, having just come from meeting my granddaughter. I should be ecstatic. Instead I'm hollow. Because I'm realizing, too late, what I've lost. I lost Maya when she was still a child and I chose to see her as a burden instead of a blessing. I lost her again when I stole from her and lied about it. I lost her finally when I bought myself a car with the last of her money and showed her that even in her righteous anger, I still put myself first. And I'll keep losing her, every single day, for the rest of my life. I'll lose her at every milestone I'll never witness. Every grandchild I'll never hold. Every holiday table I'll never sit at. I'll lose her in the quiet moments when I wonder who she's become and know I have no right to ask. I'll lose her in the knowledge that somewhere out there, my daughter is living her best life, and it's a life that doesn't include me. That's my legacy. That's what I built with 32 years of favoritism and cruelty and theft. One daughter who loves me cautiously, always waiting for me to fail her like I failed her sister. One daughter who doesn't love me at all. And one Mercedes-Benz I drove for 3 weeks before selling it at a loss. That's what my pride cost me. That's what happens when you steal from your child to spoil your favorite, and then punish them for objecting. You don't get forgiveness. You don't get redemption. You don't get another chance. You get exactly what you deserve. Nothing.